Hello everyone! Welcome back to another episode of the Total War multiplayer coverage here. 2v2, back with Surreal. I'm playing as Bretonnia, he's playing as the Beastman. We are facing off against two Empire players, just as a horde of rockets are coming at me. That is from the Sunmaker over there. We also got mortar teams coming in to my poor Bretonnian infantry line. And right before there we go, stop it for just a moment. So, my infantry is pretty standard for me. 3 spears, 3 peasant bows, 5 men-at-arms, 3, I already covered the peasant bows. A damsel, King Lewin on his hippogriff. We have 2 Pegasus Knights being led by a paladin each, a mounted yeoman, and 2 Knights of the Realm over here. For Surreal, we have 2 Cygors, Malagor the Dark Omen, a line of Ungor herd with the spears, 2 Gorbulls, a line of Gore herds with shields, 2 Minotaurs with great weapons, 4 Ungor raiders over there. Then for the Empire players, kind of a lot here. 2 handgunners, 3 swordsmen, 2 greatswords, halberdier, 2 crossbows, 2 Volkmars, 2 demigryph knights with halberds, 1 here, 1 over there, another demigryph knight, that's normal. We have 2 more spears here, 2 mortar teams, 2 great cannons. You saw the Sunmaker, which is right over there. 2 more great swords back here, another crossbow, 2 free company, more spears. Did I mention that? I'm not sure. There's so many people over here. Flagellants, 2 more halberdiers, and that is it. Oh, and also an Empire captain and a light wizard, if I didn't mention those two. So many Imperial units here, just a lot of troops. And we are starting this battle already in range of their rockets, which are about to come down upon our heads about now. And in one salvo from that Sunmaker, here's the second salvo. They are already wrecking my low-tier troops here, which I guess is to be expected. It's a very powerful tool. Yeah, this is a pretty standard Bretonnian army for me. This is mostly the infantry that I always bring. The only thing that ever changes is what kind of cav I'm bringing. So right now, over here, we are flying over the forest to uncover these demigryph knights. I'm going to be sending these knights over just right here. The Pegasus Knights we're not going to be using for just a little bit because I don't want to get them intermixed into this army quite yet, just because of all the halberds and units that are nearby. So we're just going to be approaching the army for right now. Cygor getting hit by some of the cannons. Oh, man. It's a lot of artillery to run towards. Mortar teams. We got handgunners over here. We already have some spearmen that are routing. Pegasus Knights are flying in front of the Free Company militia currently. We'll get to Surreal's fight later, but these Pegasus Knights are going to be going over there to help him for the most part. The demigryph Knights are about to charge our lines here, and they're going to be chasing our mounted yeomen. I may not catch this, which is why I'm saying it right now. I'm going to move the mounted yeomen way out here. They're going to stop pursuing, so the mounted yeomen will be free and not actually charged and murdered instantly. They are also going to be charging against our Knights of the Realm, and I'm going to be moving a group of men-at-arms nearby to support. Again, if I don't catch it, that's what's going to be happening over there. Over here, we do get a quick charge against the handgunners that were shooting up our Bretonnians, but we're going to try and pull out before the spearmen get there. Again, we were being shot at by the Free Company and the crossbows that are hanging out back there. You can see our lines, for the most part, have kind of been shattered a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm not quite ready yet to move in because the rest of our forces are still catching up, but then they cast a net of Amatoch, which catches the King Lewin and these spears. Here go those demigryph knights into our Imperial Knights. I'm going to be moving the mounted yeomen out of there. We're going to charge these demigryph knights with halberds to try and keep them in place, and then the group of men-at-arms are on their way. I'm actually going to be sending 2 groups over here to deal with these demigryph knights because they are a high priority for me. I'm going to try and shut them down and sacrifice these Knights of the Realm. Over here is going to be Curse of the Wind being dropped by our damsel. These spearmen are going to rout right before they get to the spear line, as we continue to get hounded by those Sunmakers. Pegasus Knights are over there helping out Surreal. Meanwhile, the Cygors are now shooting at the giant group of infantry here. We're dropping a chain lightning spell from our damsel. I wanted it to go right through here and grab all of these, but no, it doesn't. It turns around. Thanks. Flatulence now charging our line, continuing to rout our spearmen. Men-at-Arms already routing. We have one group of Men-at-Arms over here engaged against the spearmen, trying to get to these mortar teams to shut them down. Again, the Pegasus Knights are mostly trying to help out Surreal's forces over there, doing hit-and-run tactics on any kind of ranged unit that is not protected by spearmen or halberdier. Over here, I'm going to have King Lewin and some Man-at-Arms or spearmen charge Volkmar, one of the Volkmars. King Lewin can do well against Volkmar on his Hippogriff, so I know this is a fight that we can win. The fight against the Demigryph Knights are going okay. We're dropping all sorts of AoEs are going down right here. The Sword of Corone from King Lewin. I'm going to drop another Curse of the Midnight Wind over here to help. Volkmar is casting all of his buff spell. All this is just craziness going on. My mounted yeomen, you can see here running around or running away. They came in for a quick charge against these handgunners, or I'm sorry, these Free Company militia, and got routed by all the other infantry nearby. Meanwhile, this fight, our men-at-arms are clearing up one of the Demigryph Knights, the one with halberds. Our Imperial Knights got crushed for the most part, but that is an okay trade since we are crushing the Demigryph Knights over there. This group is going to be led away to safety. I think they're going to charge this Knights of the Realm and then come back and fight more men-at-arms, I believe is what happens over there. Let's go back to the King Lewin fight, because this is kind of the only thing happening over here. Besides my Pegasus Knights going around everywhere. Another net of Amatok being dropped by the Light Wizard. The King will eventually rise up into the air, leaving the Spearmen to fight Volkmar and his Spearmen. We have some of our peasant bows who have not been totally routed or destroyed by the artillery are now raining death over here in this massive clump. They are shooting the rear of these spears. Meanwhile, the King going up against Volkmar in his very impressive looking chariot. My Paladin is over here. Again, I'm just using my Pegasus Knights and my Paladins as a disruption force. I did charge these Grey Swords though, I'm not entirely sure why, but the Paladin is doing well in that fight. The Pegasus Knights are trying to get repeating charges against the mortar teams and the Great Cannons to shut them up. And more crossbows I would charge over here. You can see we have actually routed with the Pegasus Knights. I believe did most of this routing over here. We have Free Company Militia routed. We have handgunners back here and crossbowmen that are coming back from routing, but we have dealt a lot of damage to them. Demigryph Knights are now over here. They are going to charge our peasant bows, I think. And that would immediately rout our peasant bowmen. Oh man, yeah, here they come. I missed this part in the match, but yeah, they are. Oh god, oh god. I'm sorry, peasants. That's probably going to lead to an instant rout and/or death. You can see our Pegasus Knights still flying around, damaged, but still trying to do hit and runs. They're going to be going into these Free Company militia. I'm trying my best to stay away from any actual heavy infantry that I can. Trying to take out these weaker targets. Another Curse of the Midnight Wind being dropped here to continue to support the fight with our Men-at-Arms and the King against Volkmar, who is now almost dead and trying to run away. There's a little warrior priest on the back there. Let's give you an above view on what's currently going on. You can see nearly totally destroyed units back here. Most of those are my infantry that got crushed on the way up. The Empire now is in disarray. You can see Surreal's forces. They came around like this and are crashing through like this. And the assorted Imperial units all over the place. Getting repeating charges on any kind of ranged unit that comes back from routing with these Pegasus Knights. We'll be charging these crossbows momentarily, I believe. There they go. Right down there to reroute them again and kill them. Volkmar should be close to death. I dropped the two Paladins in this fight to help out. And there we go. Volkmar drops. Sword of Corone is still dropped on these Spearmen. Demigryph Knights are now in this fight, but they are fighting against Man-at-Arms, which is not a battle they really want. Paladins just doing what they do. That sort of Corone debuff from the King is so amazing. Here comes some more reinforcing spears. And we're just trying to wrap up this group of, I believe they throw some Grey Swords in here as well. But we had Halberdiers, enemy Spearmen. Just trying to kill as many as we can. Pegasus Knights are still going after routing units. This one actually went after these great swords because they were at low morale, so I wanted to break them, and we did. Not many Pegasus Knights left, but they are still a force to be reckoned with. Another Curse of the Midnight Wind being dropped on here to finish this fight. The Demigryph Knights, I think, shatter at this point. Yeah. So most of this army, without the help of Volkmar, is going to shatter. So even though most of our infantry got crushed, the infantry for Bretonnia is not really their main damage dealing force. It's going to be the king, it's going to be the paladins, the Pegasus Knights, and that's basically it. And since they were still intact after the initial charge, I was still rather confident that we could crush the Imperial infantry, and we did on our side. So that's going to be it for my side for the most part. Let's actually stop here, and we will see how Surreal's fight goes. Although I guess you can tell on the minimap, it kind of, listen, it goes kind of well. Here you can see Surreal's army marching up around the left flank, or I'm sorry, the right flank of the Imperial players. And we now have 3 Cygos on the field because he brought 2 and then Malagor just summoned the 3rd one, which they are now going to be throwing some rocks into some dense formations. Getting a nice shot on these, what are the handgunners? Crossbows, I think, maybe? Those rocks do a lot of damage, everyone. They do a lot of damage. These are a lot of Ungors. And the enemy artillery was mostly focused on me, so luckily for Surreal, he didn't really have to deal too much with them. Although some of the great cannons were actually shooting at a Cygor back here, as you can see. Right now, they are being peppered by the crossbows in the back, which my Pegasus Knights should be silencing pretty soon. You can see the swordsmen lining up to accept the Ungor charge. Here come my Pegasus Knights. Anytime. At some point, they go down. I remember giving the attack order. It looks like the Cygors are trying to damage these Demigryph. Actually, they're doing a lot of damage to those Demigryph Knights over there. Ungor is not going to do too well against the great swords, but the spearmen, though, or the swordsmen, they can still do rather well, especially buffed or backed up by all these Minotaurs. Right now, my Pegasus Knights, I believe, are into those crossbows, but that is not an interesting fight. This is. Here come the remaining Demigryph Knights with halberds into these Minotaurs. These Minotaurs are the ones with the great weapons, so they have a bonus versus large and armored, so they will also do pretty well against Demigryph Knights. Here comes an Imperial Captain as well to try and buff this flank. Right there, we have a Devolve being dropped. I believe that's Devolve. Yeah, being dropped down on this whole group of infantry. It's a lot of Minotaurs. Meanwhile, the Ungor Raiders are all over here showering. I'm not sure who they're actually hitting right now. The Great Cannon position? I'm not entirely sure. Volkmar is also over here with another group of swordsmen. I think the Minotaurs go after Volkmar later on in the battle. You see the Gorherds now getting a flank on these great swords. Press spacebar here so you can actually see through the trees. And they are getting into the squishier bits back here. Routing a couple of these crossbows. Ooh, a charge from the Demigryph Knights. What remains of them. And you see the swordsman line over here is about to break. Even these great swords are currently breaking. These halberdiers can hold on for a while against Gorherds, though. Especially since these Gorherds are surrounded by the Demigryph Knights. And here comes some great swords, although they are routing. They're not actually going to fight here. Let's give an above view here. So right now they are still dealing with Volkmar, the swordsman that's still alive, the spearman that's still alive, and I believe that's it over here. Pegasus Knights still disrupting where they can, and this group is currently being pulled back. There is still an Empire Captain over here dealing with one of my Paladins, and that is it. This is a lot of damage with these Minotaurs and Gorbals over here for Volkmar and his swordsman to handle. And so they rout, and Volkmar is pulling back. Probably a wise choice. It looks like Volkmar is going to stay by a little bit longer. Meanwhile, these Minotaurs are going to go into these Demigryph Knights to try and finish them off. Again, the Great Weapon Minotaurs have a very good chance of killing the Demigryph Knights. Volkmar is now starting to come under focus attack by the Minotaurs and Malagor. Here goes his AoE spell. That's a lot of damage for Volkmar to take. As far as the other battle going, we have a Gore Herd and Ungors over here trying to deal with the remaining Greatswords. And you can see Volkmar trying to run away, but he keeps getting pinned down by Surreal's forces over there. Over here we have a couple units getting picked off by some of the bows that came back from routing. You can see my fight in the distance there. But yeah, Surreal's doing a good job at keeping Volkmar pinned and with these Gorbul attacking him. Gorbul's really strong. The other Minotaur groups are going over here to finish off the Greatswords. And in the meantime, the three Cygors back here have constantly just been throwing their rocks. I think they should mostly be out. Actually, no, the Cygor is still fine. Actually, they also kind of have ammunition. But the thing is, they get a lot of kills in this battle. I didn't really have... There's Volkmar's chariot in the background. He just succumbed to his wounds and has fallen off to the Gorbul and the Gore Herd that was surrounding him. Another above view of what's going on. You can see the Imperial lines over here are mostly routing or shattered at this point. Actually, they all shattered at this point. The only thing left is going to be the Flagellants that are now over here somewhere. Where are they? There they are. The one group of Flagellants that the enemy had is now coming into this battle, and they are the only thing left that hasn't shattered quite yet, so we're going to send all of our forces to deal with them. Including our remaining Pegasus Knights, our Paladins, King Lewin, Man-at-Arms, a mounted yeoman that has just been sitting off in the corner that came back from routing. Here they come. Everybody's getting a piece of this action. And they are not going to be able to survive for long against such odds. And that is going to be the battle. Good game to my opponents and to Surreal. Let's take a look at the kill count. King Lewin, 52. The Paladins did really well. My infantry, for the most part, got crushed. A couple men-at-arms managed to actually get into the fight and did some damage. One peasant bow managed to deal some damage. The other two were routed and crushed for the most part. This mounted yeoman, 44 kills. I think most of that was at the end against the Flagellants, but some of them were against the Free Company as well. Some of them. My Knights of the Realm, 0 kills each, because they were fighting against the Demigryph Knights and didn't manage to kill any of them. The ones that managed to kill them were my men-at-arms. But the Pegasus Knights did really well, as did their Paladin leaders. And the King, of course, is the King. He killed Volkmar and did some damage. Again, the infantry is not the strong point of the Bretonnians. They can hold, though. But man, they got crushed this time by the look at that, 210 kills from this artillery piece. Whew. Whew. So, Surreal, or aka Brother Fistus. Gorebull, 43 kills. Ungor and Gore Herds, for the most part, did really well. Ungor Raiders did really well. They weren't really challenged at all. The Minotaurs did exceptionally well. The Cygors got so many kills, but the Cygor that he summoned, he said got over 300 kills. Unfortunately, it's not shown here because the summons are not shown at the end of the battle. So, all together, was it almost 500 kills that the Cygors got by the 3 of them? Insane. Insane. For the Empire players here, Pablo... Spearline did rather well. Flagellants got 121 kills. I think they went after our peasants and killed a lot, or peasant bowmen, and killed a lot of them there. The Demigryph Knights, for the most part, did really well, as they're expected to. And again, the Sunmaker, 210 kills. That thing just destroyed my infantry. 85 kills for this Volkmar the Grim. 49 for the Imperial Captain. This was the one that was fighting against Surreal. The Swordsman line did okay against the Gores. 72 kills is really great. The Grey Swords, 222 kills. That was the group that was holding on the extreme right flank against that Ungor Herd and Gore Herd before they got crushed by the Minotaurs. But they got so many kills. Mortar teams, so many kills against my infantry for the most part. And the Great Cannons were focusing on the Cygors, I think, so they didn't really rack up too much. But again, good game to my opponents and to Surreal. I hope you enjoyed that one. That was a good game. I was slightly, well, I was more than slightly, I was worried there at the end, up until when Volkmar died, and I was like, okay, so going to take that morale penalty, I still have some Pegasus Knights alive, and I was like, okay, I think we can get this. But before that, my approach to the enemy line, my, infantry getting destroyed, my Knights getting destroyed, we didn't get all of the Demigryph Knights like I wanted to, my Pegasus Knights took a lot of damage from range fire, so I was definitely worried. I was like, man, they could definitely win this, but we got it in the end. But that was a really good game. Truly a good game. I enjoyed that one a lot. So I will see you all next time. Leave your suggestions below on what you'd like to see. And that's it. Have a good day, everybody.